This video is a continuation of the previous video, so if you haven't seen the first one, you'll want to start with video 4.0. Okay, so for this one, I've just moved down to my next sprite, and I know that this is my next sprite because he's yellow and my slot's yellow. So I'm going to reset this to the default, which is white. And, whoops, just rendered the wrong window. And rendered him out here. So you can see this is what we're starting with. Okay. So we've covered a little bit of the basics here for the basic parameters. I'm going to scroll up coding since we just covered that. We talked about how this is the percent. I want to show you what happens if I set this to 0. It basically shows no base color. It's taking away the color. Whoops, wrong box, sorry. Used to coding being up there. Okay, this is roughly 28%. So now it's blending black and white. So I've got a shade of gray. And then this is what happens if it's 100%. He's completely this color. The default is 0.8, not sure why, but it is. So if you want it to be more solid, more pure, you'll want to turn this up to 1. Okay, and so we've worked with the color. I'm going to show you today how to pick a map. And then, of course, we had roughly talked about the roughness here, where scrolling this up, and again, this is another one that's a percent from 0 to 1. Roughens the texture, the surface, almost like concrete. So you see that it changes that texture, makes it look a little rougher. Okay? I'm going to just bring this back down to 0 for now. Okay, so I want to add a map. And I'm not going to cover caustics again because I covered that in a previous video. Alright, so pick a map or drop a map. So I'm going to select my blank slot. And Arnold prefers to work with images. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to Arnold. We have been just using the bitmap. You can continue to use the bitmap, but for better quality, you can come down here and select image under texture. Say OK. And it's asking for the file name, so I'm going to click on the dots. And then I can select, and I thought I had this so I could see them. I think I used this one. I just wanted to test it out before we went. Okay, so it's in there. You see it's in there. And so now when I render this out, you see that the image has been applied to my sprite. And if we were in class, I'd be, okay, what's wrong with it? And everybody would be like, well, you haven't added your UVW map modifier, and that would be correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that sprite, and I'm going to add that UVW map modifier right there. And I'm going to change it to box because he's most like a box. And try that and see what happens. And it fixed it. And so now he has this interesting looking scale to him. Okay, so what if I want to do a bump? All right, I'm going to go back out. All right, just pull down that scroll menu and go back to my default. And this wants to keep unfurling. Okay, so I now have my map. You can see it. I'm going to come down all the way down to the bottom here where it says Special Features, Normal, Bump. Now, you can do this as a bitmap, which is I've done before and it worked fine. Image. Go get the image. And let's see what happened. And he got a little bit darker, didn't he? But he has a bump on him. You can now see that there's some texture there. And there is some adjustments we can try. And that lightened him up a little bit. Kind of like that one. That really, look, on the side, that really looks like he's got a texture. Let's render that again closer. Well, I like that one. So that's that sRGB. Yeah, I like that one the best, I think. And then we have some filters as well. I think the fall was the smart one. Yeah, I like that one the best, I think. Now you have a whole bunch of other things you can make adjustments to, and the channel has to do with this number. We're not going to need to change that, so that really doesn't do anything to help. This one allows you to deal with anything that might be missing. What happens when you get a missing texture? Just try not to lose your textures. Make sure you put your textures in the same file where your main 3D Studio Max file is. And then we have a whole bunch of stuff down here where we can use offset, and you can attach your map there again. I'm not gonna. And then multiply. And this has to do with adjusting the brightness, okay? And right now it's already at white. So what we're gonna do here is just turn up. I'm gonna come back over here. You can't see it. I've got a light over here. I'm just gonna increase. It's set, it's 4 and 4, and I'm just gonna try 6 there. Just increase that lighting, render it out. Oops, again, wrong. Try it again. Ugh, I keep clicking the light over here. Yeah, and that fixed the darkness of it. There we go. So keep that in mind when you're adding your bump to your texture, that it's going to make your character a little bit darker. So you may need to make some adjustments to the lighting, but you can also adjust your color space here. That one seemed to help, in my opinion, the most. Made mine look better. Okay. Let's try another one. I'm just going to give him another, assign a different material to him. You can, let's see, let's try this one. You can, under here somewhere, there's a bump. Let's see. I haven't tried this. Let's just try it. Well. Okay, it's not letting me select it there. I thought there was a standard surface. Base color. Image. I found this interesting little crystal one. And then I'm going to go back up to my main one. And I'm going to come down to my bump. And this time I actually have the bump map. I believe it's this one. And I'm going to change that from auto to that. Okay. Let's see how that looks. It's kind of interesting. But again, it made him darker, right? So I didn't feel like that one worked as well. let's try this one. I went and created a bump map to see if it helped, because we've kind of been just using the, I don't know. All right, let's see what happens if I change it out to the crystal. It's okay. I think there's probably not enough contrast in that map like there was in this one. So when you're selecting your maps, you want to look for images that have higher contrast. I want to try something else here. Let's go down here. Select this again. Actually, let's go back and delete it. There is a 3D bump in here, and I haven't tried it. Clear. Okay, so I just right-clicked on that to remove it. Select it again. Here we go, bump. Let's try this one. Okay. So I picked the bump 3D. Bump map. Image. Okay. Okay, I got it in there. I'm going to change it to that one because I like that one. And I'm going to go back up just one to map 12. So I've attached it there. Now, I can drag and drop it down here as an instance. And let's see what that does. Oh, that looks better, doesn't it? Okay, this is better, so let's use this. All right, I'm going to get a higher number and see if it starts to give it more of a texture. All right, let's drag this down here. I'm going to post some more information about this in Blackboard because I'm about to run out of video and then I won't be able to upload this into Blackboard on how to use these settings. But just know that's there, and all I did was under my, after I attached my material, under right here, I scrolled down and I went to bump and I selected the Arnold bump 3D, and then I attached my map into these slots. And then we now have to make calculations on what we can do to get that to work better.